that is, but we will definitely go ahead and talk about that. The North. So let's talk about our division, the North. Who's going to be kings of the North? The AFC North. So now we're in the post-draft season. So you get to the season, obviously, September to January is football, NFL going on, playing season, in-game, focused on that. Once we get to the off season, then right around January, February, we kind of recap. Then we move into like February-ish, late January, player acquisition and everything like that. Now we are in the predictive season, right? So now we've had the draft, we've had free agency, we've had all these things. We know now how these teams look on paper. This is pretty much now what you have right now is barring any superstars that are undrafted or anything like that, you're going to have guys that we know. So this is what the teams look like. So let's go ahead and go over the North, the division. And let's go ahead and take a look at how the teams look in the offseason. All right, so this isn't prediction here. Okay, we'll get to that later. But this is just what they got. We'll go over teams, and if you're not familiar with the draft, whatever, we'll go over what is actually going on. The Browns last year, they finished in fourth place, 5-12 out of 17 games. What's the strengths and the weaknesses of the Browns? The Browns have a very good defense. They probably have the best defensive player in the NFL, Myles Garrett, on their team. Myles Garrett, even his age has not slowed him down. He's been very good as an older player. He's been very good as a player. I think they've actually drafted well and played well on defense. Not just Myles Garrett. Mason Graham, they've got him in last year's draft. Corey Schlesinger, I think, was probably one of the better players in the draft last year. Outstanding inside linebacker, Denzel Ward, and cornerback as well. So they have some good things on defense. They did lose Jim Schwartz in a weird way. They practically promised him the head coach job, and then at the last minute gave it to Todd Monken, which is crazy. I mean, and congratulations, Todd Monken, getting the job, but the way it happened was kind of weird. But that's typical Browns. So they have good defense. So that's not questioning that. The offensive line actually hasn't been terrible either. They have some pieces on offense. Quinshawn Jenkins, the running back is there as well. So they have some pieces. What did they get in the offseason? Elton Jenkins, Zion Johnson, Tyus Howard, Quincy Williams, AJ Ebenezer at defensive end. Spencer Fano in the draft. Casey Concepcion, they had 2 first-round picks because of the trade they made moving back in the Travis Hunter trade last year. So they did do some things in the offseason. One thing the issues they had was offensive line was good in previous years, not so good last year. I think it kind of just aged out a bit, so they made some changes. They go and get Jenkins. They go get Zion Johnson. They go get Spencer Fano. So Titus then okay. I mean, so I think that's not too bad there. What's wrong? You have a new coach, totally off the reservation. Todd Monken getting the job. That surprised everybody. Todd Monken, don't get me wrong. I mean, did a good job with Lamar Jackson and all that. Todd Monken is in his late 50s, so I understand why he took the job. This is probably what he feels like maybe his last chance to get a job. I understand that. So a really off-the-board hire, really bad taste maybe with the defense, the way it was handled with Jim Schwartz. We'll see about that. And so that's a concern there. The biggest concern with the Browns is actually they've done a lot of good things. Your quarterback situation is flat out awful. They cannot be serious wanting to start Deshaun Watson. I understand what his contract is, but he hasn't played well since 2019. Not exaggerating. That's not even a joke. It's been that long since he's played well. Injury, out because of legal issues and this issue and all that. It's been a while since we've seen Deshaun Watson play. Why they're not putting their arm around Shedeur Sanders, I don't really know. Some people don't like Shedeur. I think it's still That's probably your best bet. I think it's a little too early to tell, but that's it. I don't like Dylan Gabriel. I think he's just too small playing the NFL to be any good. But that's the thing. Best players on this team: Corey Schwessinger, Joe Bonanno, obviously Myles Garrett, fantastic, and Denzel Ward. Todd Monken is the head coach. I think they stay here. Last place. I don't think they get any better. The quarterback situation just is a mess, and the owner is just a mess. You can't do that. That's so important. Coach, quarterback, owner, so important to a franchise, and they're just lacking terribly in all spots. Considering the fact they don't look that bad in others, so that's weird. So we'll see if they can somehow miraculously get it right. They actually could be much better. Bengals 6-11 last year, low for their standards as well. Third. Passing game, strengths and weaknesses. Passing game, back seven, defense concern. Taylor on the hot seat. Of all the coaches, the only team without a new coach, believe it or not, is the Bengals. Zach Taylor is the only one to return for them. So that's shout out to them. Shout out to Zach Taylor, maintaining his spot there. We know what they do well. They're going to throw the football. There's no question about that. You keep Joe Burrow healthy. They have excellent receiving core, maybe the best pair of receivers still in the league. I think their offensive line is improving. The concern is, and I think the back seven, I still don't love it. I think they've improved the line. They've tried to those additions, but still their corners and stuff like that, they still give up a lot of points. I think that's an issue. What did they do in the offseason? Boye Mafe from the Seattle Seahawks as well. Jonathan Allen, Rick Doc Walker. Every time I think about Jonathan Allen, Rick Doc Walker called him a Rolls Royce. So as well. So they're going to be good up front. They got Dexter Lawrence to go with it. They traded away a first-round pick, 10th pick of the draft. So they're going to be good up front as well. Did lose Trey Hendrickson, so that's a real thing. So that's where obviously Trey Hendrickson went to Baltimore. But they did go ahead and get that. Brian Cook, they signed from Kansas City. Kyle Duggar, also two from Pittsburgh. So they're trying. So they're definitely trying that back in. Cassius Howell, I thought, got him in the second round. I thought this was a steal of a pick. This guy, definitely too. If the Ravens had selected him, if he only hadn't been there and the Ravens had selected Cassius Howell at 14, I'd have had no problem with that. This guy is a good, solid, college productive pass rusher, probably going to be competing with Smart Stewart on the other side of Boye Mafe as well. No real problem with that. I think the Bengals the Bengals did okay in the offseason. They didn't just stand pat, they actually did it. Big loss, so they did lose Trey Hendrickson, who definitely did not want to resign. Best players: Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Zeus Jr. Orlando Brown, and Chase Brown. Pretty much all on offense as well. They are. The thing is, they're going to live and die if Joe Burrow stays healthy. That's the problem. So if Joe Burrow actually stays healthy and can actually do some things for them, they're going to be right there in the mix for the division title as well. Can Burrow actually play a 17-game schedule healthy and go all the way through? They made a lot of changes. Their offensive line, they signed Orlando Brown. They've done all these things. Yeah, but blah, blah, blah. But they struggle without him. I do think they are concerned about that. That's why they went ahead and re-signed Joe Flacco in the offseason. So you got a guy that you can step in. They feel really good about that as well. But more people in love with the Bengals, what they did, than I am. I don't think they move much. I think they may have improved their defense, but I'm not totally sold on that as well. They may have, but I don't really see oh, wow, they, a lot of good pieces, but we'll see. But the bigger problem, I think, isn't the defense. The defense was the one problem. The other problem is you can't keep your quarterback healthy. So that's a thing as well. So that's how the Bengals look. The Squealers won the division. We all know the story. Tyler Luke pushes it, gets a good field goal, and the Squirrels are going home crying. Instead, the Ravens went home crying, won the division 10-7. New coach for the first time in a long time. Mike McCarthy is now taking over as the head guy. Mike Tomlin is now going to be calling games for NBC this year as well. Steelers won the division at 10-7 on the last night of the season. What's good about them? The pass rush is really good. We all know that. Watt, I think, is fantastic. Highsmith, I think that's the strength of their team. This is the part of the Steeler tradition that they've been able to keep is those outstanding edge rushers. 2 guys on each side to really blow up your deep. That's still there in Pittsburgh. So I definitely think that's a strength as well. Concerns outside of that, young offensive line, Broderick Jones, some issues there. They did go in the draft and get some guys. QB is a concern, obviously. Aaron Rodgers. We're going to go over this like this, but let's go over this. Let's just go over this even right now. We're assuming that they're going to have Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's assuming that they're going to have Aaron Rodgers. If they don't, you have a big problem. Because I'm not at all convinced that Will Howard or certainly Drew Aller or Mason Rudolph can help you. This really, really takes your team down with the lack of Aaron Rodgers. Now, by all accounts, we're assuming he's going to be there. I don't know why he's not signed. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know what's the problem. I mean, we're almost at Memorial Day. Like I don't. You've been playing for 20 years. I don't know. Anyway, but I think the Steelers are assuming Aaron's going to be there. And so, but that is a concern. Even if Aaron returns, he's going to be 42. So we'll see. But that's probably a concern for them. The rest of it was very Steel-like. Rico Dowell was very good in Carolina last year. He signed up with them. They went out and got Michael Pittman to go on the other side. They badly needed another wide receiver to go with DK Metcalf as well. Derek Harmon, I think that was actually Jamal Dean, free agent corner. So definitely they needed some help. They got Joey Porter Jr. on the one side. You got a good solid vet, Jamal Green as well. Little concerned about the age a little bit, but that's still a good solid corner. I think he's better than Darius Slay and the guys that tried to ring up there last year as well. Sebastian Joseph, they went and got a tackle free agency. Javon Brisker as well. Maxi Yokor, I think I'm saying that right. And Jennings Dunker, they definitely addressed the offensive line in the draft as well. Injury issues, don't know if they're going to have Broderick Jones. A lot of youth there. Never go wrong with that. I think their offensive line will be okay as well. They're going to need protection, especially with Aaron as quarterback. Your best players, TJ Watt, DK Metcalf, Cam Hayward, Aaron, and Highsmith as well. Mike McCarthy, I was shocked they hired Mike McCarthy. That was completely floored me that you assume that the Steelers have never done this before. They've never had that, and they've had veteran coaches, obviously, but they hired a guy 10 years older than the guy they had. They've always taken the young guy whenever they did a hire. They haven't done many hires. This is the 4th coach they've had since 1969, and they hired a 63-year-old. So, bit of a surprise, but this tells me they really want Aaron to come back. They'll figure that out later, whoever the next young Steelers coach is, and they're trying to go ahead and win another division. So we'll see. Again, another team, like every team in the league, but all 3 of these teams in the North. Quarterback, Bengals, keep it healthy. Find a quarterback in Cleveland. Can they maintain quarterback in Pittsburgh? So as well. This is the team, obviously, with the best quarterback, your Baltimore Ravens. So the Flock were 8-9 last year. Definitely disappointing. They have a new coach as well. Jesse Minter is now the leader of the Flock. Okay, John Harbaugh is now in New York. They fired John Harbaugh at the end of the year. They brought in a new coach to coaching staff. Obviously, Eric DeCosta still the GM. What do they have? Skill positions. Some people question it. We're going to go over the depth chart in a second, but I'm fine with the skill positions. You got Lamar Jackson, you got Derrick Henry there, you got Zay Flowers, um, you got Mark Andrews still there. That's good enough. That's pretty good. The question is, do you have that depth is a little more challenged than it was, at least on paper? You're now, say, Bateman, not as good last year. Your number 2 receiver, DeAndre Hopkins is gone, so you're asking now Tez Walker to step up. You got 2 rookie receivers that you got in the draft, 2 new tight ends after, now that after Andrews likely's gone, Kolar's gone. So that's a thing as well. But the skill position's not worried about that. Pass rush is going to be much, much, much improved. So the reason is to like the Ravens is the problem last year. The biggest problem was their pass rush. That's been solved. All accounts, they will have Nnamdi Madubuike back on the field, which is fantastic. You get Madubuike back. Also, too, you went out and got Trey Hendrickson, which was terrific, which is obviously a thing. So you definitely fixed that. Your secondary's been solid. Concerned about the age, I think, with Marlon Humphrey and I think Awuzie, as good as they were, but that offensive line obviously is their biggest concern. You're starting a rookie, Ione, even though he was heralded. You'll see they have no idea at center. That's unacceptable. That was garbage. That they don't have a center. They let Linderbaum go. So your offensive line is still very much a concern, especially with the injury history. And now Lamar's going to be 30 years old this year. So that's a thing. And you got a rookie punter. So threw that in last year. Jordan Stout is gone. We'll see. They did go ahead and do it in the draft. Off-season, biggest acquisition, obviously, is Trey Hendrickson. Not Max Crosby. A lot of us know the story. Max Crosby trade voided in the offseason as well. They went ahead, voided out the trade. Henderson was available. They signed Trey Hendrickson, kept the number 1 pick. We all know the story there as well. This is a massive upgrade. Their pass rush was horrible last year. I think otherwise a defense would have been solid, but you couldn't rush the passer. You absolutely should rush the passer. John Simpson, I think it's fascinating you out and get John Simpson because you didn't sign him to the contract you just gave him. That's why you had all these problems. If you had done that before, anyway. But I think that's fascinating. Dorn Smythe as well. He's going to be a blocking tight end. Jalen Hawkins going to be a depth piece. Calais Campbell. Say it with me. Calais Campbell is back. That's fantastic. So definitely that is there. Vegaioni in the draft, Zion Young as well. Again, so he's probably going to pair with Trey Hendrickson. We'll see that. Mike Green, etc. But I think your best players, we already talked about them. I think they're the same. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Roquan. I'm leaving Roquan there. I still think Roquan was good at the end of last year. I don't think Roquan was great. And Kyle Hamilton, he's safety one in the NFL as well. Do you think the Ravens have the talent to go ahead and win their division this year? What we're seeing too with the divisions that I went over, and I've been looking over a lot of them. It's funny. They're clumped up in division very closely, right? So hard to decipher. Steelers, Ravens, Bengals. In the South, hard to decipher. Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans, etc., real close. In the West, maybe better teams, but San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles, kind of not this year. So this is how it looks. The North. All right. So this is how the North looks. This is what the teams did as well. We all like what the Ravens did. I didn't love the draft, but I definitely too do like what the Ravens did in the offseason. I think the Ravens did best they could with that as well. Orioles 7-4 in the ninth, according to the score. So we're just keeping our eye on that. Orioles. We're going to talk Orioles here in a second. How does it look on paper?